So guys, some of you may or may not know that I'm a Photoshop wizard, that I can create magical things by using Photoshop, and I've got something for you if you're interested. So what I can do is basically create a portrait, something like what's on the screen at the moment, whereby I could just take a mobile phone picture and make a fantastic portrait. And look, if you're interested in having something a little bit special that you can put on your wall, maybe in your office, in the toilet, then you can just head over to stickyelephant.com and yeah, go to the product called Boom Pow. You can buy that. Give me your debit and credit card details, and then all you need to do is just go to the contact form on the actual site and put in your order number, upload your image, and I'll do the rest. God, I absolutely love this bike. I really do. And yesterday I was supposed to get a power commander installed onto this bike, but I didn't because of money. Basically, there's one or two things that have cropped up, as is the way with life and bills and all that sort of stuff, and I had to pull out. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? I had to pull out of her. Yeah, so I didn't get it done yesterday, but I do intend to get it done, and the reason I explain that to you is because I've done so much research into getting a power commander put on this little puppy, and I thought I'd share with you like a one-stop video if you're considering getting a power commander, or maybe you want to understand a little bit about it. Then hopefully this video is going to help you out. Don't know what he was doing, but anyway. So the very first thing I would say is you've got to be careful with Facebook groups and forums, because there's a lot of people on there that think they're Donald Trump when they're really Donald Duck. They have not got a clue. What I would say is, firstly, speak to a professional on any given subject. Thank you very much. So what I did is, because I bought this bike, what got me looking at the whole power commander thing is because this, when I bought this, it was decatted, and I was like, oh god, I want to make sure that I look after the bike, longevity of the bike and all that sort of stuff. And first thing I did was post in a KTM group the fact that it's been decatted and do I need a power commander, and the amount of comments that I got. Oh god, you're gonna break the bike, it's running lean, oh you better get that sorted out straight away. It's like, okay. And what that done is made me really anxious, and I was like, god, this is something that I need to get sorted out on the bike rather quickly. But the truth of the matter is, as I said before, what you should do is speak to a professional, which is what led me on to speaking with DynoJet UK and basically doing a lot of research online to find out exactly what a power commander does, if I need one, should I get one, blah blah blah. And the first thing I would say with a power commander, well, let's go back a step. You've probably heard about the Euro 4 and Euro 5 regulations and all that sort of stuff. And all that basically is what happens is KTM or BMW or Yamaha, whatever it is, they make these fantastic engines. And then what they do is they approach the bean counters, aka the government, and say, look, this is the engine we got, we want to sell it to any given, you know, population in any given country. So what they do is they look at the engine and they go, right, well, it's producing too many emissions. It's not ozone friendly, because what they're trying to do is protect that. They're trying to protect the ozone layer the best way they can, and what they do is they strangle the engines, and they know that you and me are going to be spending the majority of our time on the bike between 2,000 and 6,000 RPM. And what they do is they reduce the amount of fuel that's produced by the injectors and pushed into the cylinder heads, which basically makes the bike run lean. And when it runs lean, it gets hot. So the first thing to consider a Power Commander for basically is because it will make your bike run better. That's it. It'll make your bike run better. And what the Power Commander does is basically tell the injectors to push more fuel into the cylinder heads and get the correct mixture of air and petrol. And what it does is it just transforms the bike. This is the research that I've sort of done, and I'm going to put a video on the screen now of a company called Rottweiler Performance that explain what I have just explained if you want clarification, and they probably explain it better than me. And as I say, if you're thinking about getting a Power Commander, then first thing to do is to watch that video, which I'm going to put a link in the description of this video so you can check it out. So the truth of the matter is, before I wouldn't even bother looking at Power Commanders because I was a little bit ignorant, the truth be known. And I would buy, like my last bike for argument's sake, the BMW S1000RR. I left the catalytic converter on it because I don't want to play around with it. I don't want to play around with a bike. I don't want to ruin it. And I kind of believe that the manufacturers know what they're doing. But the truth is, the manufacturers are up against it because, as I say, the government don't want petrol bikes, cars, whatever, to produce as many emissions, so they just try and strangle them. So historically I've kind of just left the whole Power Commander thing alone, but I couldn't ignore it because when I bought this it was decatted. Now one thing I've got to squash straight away is if you get your bike decatted, you do not need to have a Power Commander. You don't need a Power Commander. And where a lot of people are saying, yeah, you've got to have a Power Commander because it's going to be the end of the world, it's not going to run right, blah blah blah. And the truth is, you don't need a Power Commander if you've had your bike decatted, because what happens is these little things here, these are O2 sensors that basically sniff the exhaust and then send a message. Oh, I don't know what that is. I think my glove just melted. Oh dear. Is that, I don't know what that is. But yeah, anyway, where else I'll have to clean that up later. Basically these sniff the exhaust and then they feed back to the CPU or ECU the right fuel and air mixture to put into the cylinder. So all of this, when that goes, basically it doesn't matter because these are still sniffing the exhaust to get the correct mixture. So the truth of the matter is, I'm going to put the email I got on the screen from DynoJet UK that basically confirmed that, yeah, what I just said, which really made me sleep a little bit better at night. And again, if there's any question about that, then what I would say is to speak with DynoJet themselves and have a little word. God, I absolutely love this bike so much. And the thing with this bike is it sounds like hell has just arrived. Hell has just arrived and it's the end of the world. Everyone looks at me on this and thinks, look at that handsome man, look at that helmet he has, it's amazing. So basically having a power commander on the bike will basically run smoother and run how it's supposed to run. And again, I'm going to put a couple of videos that I found on YouTube, one being the Rottweiler performance video, which you have to watch, because they're, well, yeah, just watch the video. Basically, in a nutshell, those O2 sensors I just showed you a moment ago, there are some companies that leave those in and put a power commander on, and that basically will make the power commander redundant, believe it or not, because those O2 sensors needs to be taken out and O2 optimizers put into the end of the little dongles that get fed to the ECU. Now the other thing as well is there are two types of ways to override the current ECU that you have on your bike, on your Duke, whatever it may be, and that's an ECU flash and a power commander. And the ECU flash I personally wouldn't bother with because it's irreversible, as with a power commander or a dyno jet, which are the same thing, that can basically be taken off. So if you're ever selling the bike, you can just put it back to stock and there's no harm done, which I think is obviously the better one out of the two. But yeah, I think that there's so much debate with regards to a power commander and all that sort of stuff. Like I see in forums, and as I say, I see so many wannabes that are like, oh god, you're going to damage your bike's going to blow up. It's like, mate, it isn't, and you don't know what you're talking about. Go back and, you know, start watching Neighbours on telly or something. So guys, if you're thinking about getting a power commander put on your bike, or you've even been considering it, then I'm going to put some links in the description box below that will absolutely make up your mind whether or not to get it. I would definitely speak with DynoJet UK, because the benefit of that is they've got recommended suppliers that have got dynos of a company that's near you, which is really handy, really useful. And also there's a company called PC3 Tuning, I think it is, which is, I think it's in Newcastle, somewhere up north, but it's about 75 years away from where I live, and they do know their stuff. And there are different stages of basically getting your bike mapped. But the other thing as well, what I've discovered, just as I'm thinking and waffling with you, is that a power commander, it might only add 2 or 3 brake extra horsepower. And again, a lot of people, or even I thought before I start doing research, that a power commander is going to give you so much more grunt and power, and it's going to blow the bike up and well, actually that is not the case. But guys, look, again, I'm happy to answer any questions. I really appreciate you watching these videos as always. Again, I've got lots of content coming up, so if you're interested in hearing me talk more about motorcycles, reviews, thoughts on different bits and pieces, then please consider to give it a little thumbs up, even subscribe if you really love me. It really means a lot. It gives me a good advantage, a good incentive to continue to make videos like this. But apart from that, ride safe, and I'll see you in the next one.